So after the bollocks we saw on Sunday, quite rightly, WWE had a lot of grovelling and a lot of apologising to do to us because we're the best, we're the fans, and we deserve better than the bollocks you put on Sunday, WWE. If you haven't seen WTF Moments for Hell in a Cell, go and watch it now. It's on this illustrious YouTube channel. But right now, we're talking about the Raw after the bollocks. And to be honest with you, it was a bit of a mixed bag. We learned that Lana is an evil, evil woman. We saw Lacey Evans and Natalya for an 8th or 7th or 9th, I don't know how many times, but that match, it went on way too long, but then things got really better. Viking Raiders match, that was good. Ali, the Aleister variety, Aleister Black, he looked good for the first time in God knows how long. The women's tag team match with all the champions, that was fantastic, I thought, and then we got to the end, and more on that later. Hit the intro, please. I'm Ross. WTF! So we kick things off with the bear and spirit animal Rusev, who needs to leave that evil Jezebel Lana and her evil cooking ways. She should move to Grove Street and take up a job inside Cooking Bell, flipping them cooks and whatnot, the massive cooker. Anyway, while all this stuff was going on around the ringside area, Jerry Lawler let us know that the match between Rusev and Randy Orton started before the show went on the air. And one question here, WWE, why are you starting matches before the show goes on the air? I mean, it was fantastic to see something really different kicking off Raw, and it was a godsend to not hear "burn it down" starting the show, because poor old Seth Rollins, who did not book Hell in a Cell, so should not be blamed for the bollocks we saw. If he started that show last night, 2 nights ago, we're still getting this new schedule, he would have got the Roman Reigns treatment the night after WrestleMania 33. But still, why are you starting matches before the show starts? Raw. And then we got... It was too much to... I don't know. But first of all, we got Bobby Lashley speaking words in a really fluent and natural sounding manner, and he was smiling and looking like he was having a good time, all while also looking like he was a real human being. We've never seen this before from Bobby Lashley. It was so weird, and then right here he was doing his best Nature Boy Ric Flair impression, but we need to rename Bobby Lashley the Puncture Boy. Bobby Lashley, because this entire angle is so deflating. But then Big Bob and Lana hop into bed and some sexy jazz starts playing as we transitioned from a WWE arena into a sassy jazz bar. I can't remember leaving the arena. I can't remember walking into a sassy jazz bar. And then Lana is just like that, in the words of Tommy Cooper. What? She just drops a bombshell. Boom, Rusev. Everything we own, it's all in my name now. How? The power of magic? Real life human beings in this real life situation really go to real life, real court for this, Lana. What you appear to have done, Lana, while my Bane Spirit Animal Rusev has been out getting the groceries or something, is just gone round the house with a label maker and gone boop, boop, boop. Everything with a label on is mine now. And then Lana, looking straight down the camera, is all like, oh, Rusev. It looks like you're not having fun, Bonnie lad. Even though she will just be looking straight into a camera lens like I am right now, and she wouldn't have had a Scooby-Doo what Rusev was doing. There was no way that when Big Bob and Lana were in bed together, they had Raw on the TV in the background, they never looked out a shot once. It's just not a possibility. And then Lana turned into an actual horse as she looked around to Big Bob and went, and then she took her pissing bra off, and then the lights went off, and then Big Bob and Lana had a thrilling game of Scrabble. And all of this sexy, saucy, Pornhub-esque stuff happened right as Raw came on the air. So I was sat there thinking, Jesus Christ almighty, this show's been on the air for like 4 minutes. What's going to be happening in hour 3? I thought we were going back to 2003 or 4 or 5. I can't remember when that promo happened with all of the bestiality sex. Kurt Angle's words, not Vince. I don't know why I did that there. But when all's said and done, I feel sorry for Rusev, so all of that worked. And then one of the commentators said it's a black day in Rusev's history. Now, I don't know about Rusev, but it certainly was in Lana's. she ain't ever coming back. Direct quote from Jerry Lawler right now when he said, "I think everyone can relate to what is going through Rusev's mind now." And I don't know about you at home watching this video right now, I've never had an almighty man have an affair with my missus, and then this almighty man and my missus film themselves in bed broadcasting this all around the world. That's never happened to me, that, and I hope it never does. Can't relate, Jerry. No. But Husker's the pig boy, that's some relatable content. Now, Vic Joseph next up said angrily, look at the anger on his face. He claimed that Tyson Fury was 6'9", and initially, I was like, what the hell? No, hold up, in the words of Sal from Impractical Jokers. But I watched his entrance from the last Wilder fight to verify what angry Vic said right there, and it turns out he is. Then I looked at Wikipedia, and Wikipedia says he's 6'7", and it's the biggest WTF moment ever. Wikipedia tells lies. Even though we know beyond any shadow of any doubt it's the best source of information available anywhere, because anyone, anywhere, can edit it anytime. You're always getting the best information from Wikipedia, unless it's Tyson Fury's height, it turns out. Devastated. Me life's been a lie and it's all Wikipedia's fault. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm questioning the legitimacy of that picture there of the great Asuka. That picture right there of the great Asuka was clearly taken right after she'd done some sweaty in-ring competition, yet she's there with the women's tag team titles and there's no green mist in sight. Yet after that match on Sunday, she was pissing covered. And after the previous revelation about Wikipedia and that picture there, I'm questioning whether this existence we call life, if any of it's actually real. Oh, the breakdown. Vic Joseph now asking what makes two superstars like Lacey Evans and Natalya want to have a match like a last women's standing match. What? Why? Because Vince McMahon told them to? I bet that even Lacey and Natty themselves will admit to you if you ask them, we're pissing sick of having singles matches against each other, because that one on Raw this week was the 8th they've had since Lacey came to the main roster. And even though I said it was the 9th on the Hell in a Cell WTF Moments video, I did more research and I realised I'd done messed up. So I'm here to apologise. No one to blame but myself. That Roman Reigns statement from when he got caught with the drugs. Lawler then says it's been quite the rivalry between Lacey Evans and Natalya. It's 2-2 right now. 2 wins apiece, he meant. Try 4-3 to Lacey, king. These are all televised matches as well that have happened on WWE TV, and each one of them, nobody's cared about them ever. Not even once. And then Dio claimed it was also Desmond 2-2 between Lacey and Natty, even though it wasn't. I've just said it's not there. I've done research and everything. And the shock and horror of WWE trying to make a nothing match like Lacey Evans versus Natalya actually something. And just look at how happy Natty was to be thrown body first into some £2,000 WWE ring steps. You kinky bugger, Natty. Who would have thought Sloth from the Goonies was such a kinky bastard? And no, I'm not calling Natty that because of the way she looks. Sloth looks like Ian Dowie, not Natalya Neidhart. I'm calling her that because of her tone when she goes, "Hey you guys, yeah!" I have to say that just in case somebody's watching this for the first time. But anyway, Natty clearly getting a lot of pleasure out of a lot of pain. We made it like one of the bit shows before some random superstar was seen sliding down that brand new Raw half pipe, and I don't know about you, but I'm shocked we made it this far. And I'm also shocked that so many times during that last women's standing match on this week's Raw, Lacey Evans looked so confident about beating Natalya, even though Natalya is a cat with 9 lives. Lacey, man, that match requires somebody to just about die for you to win. Yet Natalya, you'd have to do that to her 10 times for you to be successful. Why did you take this match on? We then saw Tyson Fury with all of his children and But then Vic Joseph claimed that Tyson Fury is the #1 announcer in SmackDown. No, not that. The #1 boxer in the world today, even though he isn't. Andy Ruiz Jr., he's the #1 boxer in all of the bodies, the organisations, whatever you call them, apart from the WBC, where Big Deontay Wilder is. So there, Vic. And I know none of this really matters. It's all semantics. But when I'm told a fact, I like the fact to actually be true. Like the fact that 50% of all Americans fall asleep on their sides. That's a fact. Google told me. Not Wikipedia. Can't trust Wikipedia anymore. He's a blue chipper. Do not sleep on Apollo Crews, said Angelo Dawkins. Well, Angelo, since Super Showdown back in June, Apollo Crews has only had 5 televised matches in a WWE ring, and he's lost all of them but one, which was a shock win over Andrade, which still confuses me to this day. So he's barely used on TV. When he does, he rarely wins, and when he's also used on TV, I find myself quite literally falling asleep on Apollo Crews because he's got no charisma whatsoever. Fantastic wrestling, couldn't give a hoot about him, hasn't given me a reason to care. Flips, wow, ooh. So there, Angelo, I will sleep on Apollo. He's not very good, even though he is, but you know what I mean. Who is this little man and why is he getting along with Braun Strowman so well? It's like he's Braun Strowman's little brother. A man among men. They were having a right old hoot. Braun Strowman was standing there giving it the big old Santa Claus. Ha 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 ha. Laugh. But I just find it absolutely fantastic that we then went to commercial break after Braun and his son, I don't know who he is, were having a right old laugh. And when we came back from that break, Braun was stood there with a face like a slapped arse, as you can see here. And then we heard the voice of Charlie Caruso, and I've said this for a while now, Charlie Caruso, it's biting you on the arse right now that you were rude and horrible and disrespectful to so many superstars. Just be nice to people. Let's take a look at the Beast's return to Raw, just about said Vic Joseph before a package for last week's SmackDown was aired. Dominic didn't die, slash, get thrown into the League of Shadows, get excommunicated from the League of Shadows, turn into Cain Velasquez just for that WWE. AJ Styles shafted right in the face by Braun Strowman, clearly concussed on Sunday at Hell in a Cell, but you know, he was falling about and stuff. He didn't know where he was. It was all hilarious. Haha, concussions. But despite seeing the birdies after Braun Strowman quite literally said twat right into his chin, just like Alan Partridge, AJ was booked to wrestle on this week's Raw, and one cannot help but think about Chick Magnet Punk at times like this. He was right, wasn't he? And by booking stuff like this that makes no sense, WWE are shafting kayfabe to one side. They're basically saying, unless somebody really gets concussed, don't believe they're actually concussed, because if someone really got concussed, they would not have been wrestling on Monday, which means that Braun Strowman's fist is actually quite soft. Hack theory. It's already started, boys and girls. They are already phasing out the pyro. Remember the days when a superstar, if they had the pyro every single time they made their entrance down to the ring in a WWE show, they would get the pyro that accompanied their entrance. Well, if that's still a thing, boys and girls, Charlotte Flair was robbed on this week's Raw as she came out for her appearance on Miz TV. Justice for Charlotte, I say. Do her. She's had her Flair share of things, hasn't she? I'm sure she can live. Good pun! And then we have The Miz running through all of Becky Lynch's accomplishments over the last little while before he gets to revealing that Becky Lynch is also on the box of Golden Crisp cereal. And I googled this, and this is what I saw initially, and I was like, what? When did Becky become a bear? But then I googled a bit harder, and there she was. She's on a box. Congratulations to you there, Becky. But I guess the real WTF moment is Becky Lynch on a box of cereal, and it isn't the Lucky Charms. Cultaholic, the home of stereotyping. And then Becky, who appears to be a bit of a cereal fetishist, in that she has a fetish for the cereals, not that she's a fetishist of the fetishes a lot. She then says that cereal, it's great. And I don't know about you, but I certainly know there's only one cereal that's great, and that's Frosties. Even though it's not really great, I think it's quite meh, but still, that's the catchphrase. And I guess what we learned from this is, if you produce cereal, Becky Lynch wants you. And then we have Becky Lynch claiming, well, I've probably never been more banged up than I am right now. Authentic. And this was after she walked to the ring for Miz TV like there was nothing the matter with you. And Becky, who might have been internally hurt more than she ever has been before, clearly forgot about the time where she limped everywhere for about 3 months. I know all of the news reports have been saying that Sasha Banks got her back injured during that Hell in a Cell match, but more attention clearly needs to be paid to Becky Lynch because she's been banged on the heat and forgot about stuff that's happened in the past. First Styles, now Lynch, give them time off, WWE. Now we're lucky that I speak fluent Japanese because I picked up that Kairi Sane told Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch during her promo on this week's Raw, I'm sure you're tired, but we are going to beat the shit out of you. She said that. Now I don't really speak Japanese. There's a massive shock for you. I saw that on the internet, and the internet always tells the truth, unless it's Wikipedia, so it's got to be true. But Kairi Sane using profanity, I didn't think that would be a thing. And someone so innocent, so pure, so adorable, using profanity like she did on this week's Raw. The world's done. It's finished. Get off it. The end is nigh. The end is nigh. Time to run away. The end is nigh. Nigh. And now we have a stat, a WTF-centric stat that revolves around Kairi Sane pinning Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch on this week's Raw. By taking a pinfall loss, that was the first time since May of 2018, apparently, that Becky Lynch had been pinned on an episode of WWE TV. A streak, not the streak, just a streak. It's over. WTF. So next up we have Charlie Caruso, who is all like, well, Raw got off to a hot start and it hasn't slowed down since. Please welcome my guest, Apollo Crews. It came to a grinding halt right there. You jinxed it, man, Charlie. That was it, man. The show came right to a standstill. Quite frankly, yawn, Apollo. Am I being too harsh? I've said he's a great wrestler. He's just boring, isn't he? So next up we have Jerry Lawler talking about the draft and how on one fateful night he was sat on an episode of WWE TV while a draft was going on and his broadcast partner got drafted to the other brand. Who was this unnamed broadcast partner? A lot of young kids and uninformed people would have been saying, let's go to the Google machine and Google. They would have seen Jim Ross, Jerry, which would no doubt have infuriated Vince McMahon, because basically, you just know this is true, don't you? Jim Ross is dead to me, damn it! He joined the AWA! I thought I put them out of business years ago! That's what Vince would say. But then following that story about the nameless man, Dio Madden pipes up and says from next week, with there being a draft and exclusive commentary teams and rosters on each side, I'm going to be more territorial because I want to be a part of the best show. Very noble of you, Dio. And then Vic Joseph pipes up and says, Dio, you're on Mondays, pal. Spoilers, Vic, you dickhead. Direct quote from Braun Strowman this time when that big meaty castle was speaking directly right into the face of boxing man Tyson Fury. Braun said, I was having fun with you on SmackDown and then I saw the way you looked at me like you wanted a piece of this. But the way Braun Strowman said that, minus the hand gesture, which I added in, for a bit of garnish, I finally realised why Crown Jewel is called Crown Jewel. And Crown Jewel is called Crown Jewel because Braun made it sound like Tyson wants to fondle with Braun's crown jewels. Tyson Fury, what's the product, son, when you got all sassy during the closing stages of this week's Raw and you said to Braun Strowman, well, I'm the heavyweight champion of the world. How many heavyweight titles have you won, Braun Strowman? You didn't realise that you were speaking to the greatest Royal Rumble champion. That's the best of all the champions. The prick got fired on last week's SmackDown. I was thinking, I can see clearly now the Shane has gone. But his sweaty fingerprints are still all over the product we see on Monday nights. Why, of all the people you could have picked to teach Tyson Fury how to throw a worked punch, would you pick Shane McMahon, Colonel McSweaty Bollocks, who is comfortably the worst worked punch thrower in the history of worked punch throwing? You've got the best pure striker in the history of WWE, Jeff Jarrett, working backstage, and you go to Colonel McSweaty Bollocks. What is wrong with you, person who makes that decision? Vince, shame on you, but finally No Way Jose has done something good, something meaningful, something we'll tell our grandkids about on the main roster. Perfect throw placement, pal. And we end with a bit of a pondering thought that there was no Seth Rollins, there was no Fiend in the flesh. There was one video package, I think there was one reference to it earlier in the show. That's all we got about the Bollocks from Hell in a Cell, as it was clear for all to see that WWE, probably Vince McMahon in particular, realised on Sunday, I done made a mess. Sweep it under the carpet, mention it once just so we can say, hey, we mentioned it once, it is a thing that happened, we're not pretending it didn't happen, which we do for a lot of stuff, but still, I'm happy that Seth wasn't out there, because he would have died. I'm happy that The Fiend wasn't out there, because Seth would have died. But still, they know they messed up. And that's it for all the WTF moments from this week's Raw. I've been Ross Twiddell from Cultaholic.com, still your reigning and defending Cultaholic heavyweight champion. I'll see you. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments below. You can follow us on Twitter at Cultaholic. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. And if you enjoy what we do here at Cultaholic, you can pledge to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Cultaholic. Hit subscribe and join us